I, 21M, recently went on a date with Steph, 21F. We met on Tinder and messaged for a couple days before Steph asked me out for a drink, which I agreed. We hadn't spoken too deeply, mostly about music and hobbies, but I figured it's better to meet in person and see if there's a vibe rather than text and potentially waste time. So we meet up and things are going okay at first, but got pretty hostile quickly. As I mentioned, Steph asked me out for a drink and she picked the place. About 20 minutes after we got there, she started to complain about the place nonstop. She didn't like her drink, she didn't like the staff, she didn't like the decor. I asked if she wanted to go someplace else. Where we were, there's like a dozen other places within a 5-minute walk. She gave a big sigh and said no, this was fine. I asked what made her pick this place. She said she'd been there before a few times. I thought it was really weird. She was complaining about a place she picked and she's been here before, she knew what to expect. I asked if the place had changed recently and she said no. Sort of a red flag, but I let it slide and we continued talking and things did get better. We connected on a few things and spoke for about an hour or so. I thought things had turned around basically. I asked at this point if she was hungry and she said yes. I said I knew a good sushi place just down the street if she wanted to go there. I suggested sushi because in her bio on Tinder, it mentioned she loves sushi, and we had texted about it earlier how we're both fans. She agreed she'd like that. I picked up the bill for the drinks and we went to the sushi place and again, things were going well for about 20 minutes and then her attitude changed. She asked me why I brought her here, to this restaurant. I didn't know what she meant. It wasn't run down or cheap. It was a nicer sushi place if anything. She explained she thought it was weird I brought her specifically to sushi because she's Asian. I said I suggested sushi because she had sushi her in bio and we'd spoke about it as well. It was something I knew she liked. She insisted it was because she's Asian. I said to her this isn't even the same kind of Asian you are. This is Japanese and you're Vietnamese. Those are two pretty distinctly different cultures. She then said it's still Asian, so it's the same thing. I said no, it's not. But she insisted it's Asian, so it's the same. At this point, I was pretty done with Steph. I thought I'd just finish the meal, leave, and wouldn't need to see her again. I was pretty quiet and she asked me about school. We hadn't really talked about it much, although I knew we're both in university. I said I'm doing my undergrad thesis now as I'm in final year. She asked me about it, and I said I'm basically doing interdisciplinary studies focusing on philosophy, law, and mixing some technology in there as I'm writing about one's self online and the legality of online identity. She began to laugh and said she never had the word interdisciplinary before. I must have made that up to sound smart or something. I pretty much ignored the insult and said she can just Google it if she's not sure what it is. She kept giggling about how I made up a word. She said she was getting a real degree. I asked in what? She said literature. I snapped back at this point and said I was surprised she had such a weak vocabulary if she thinks I'm making up words and is a lit major. Yes, I probably shouldn't have been sassy like that, but I was so done with this girl at this point. She said again, at least she has a real degree, and asked what I'm going to do after graduating. I said probably law school. I've already applied, I'm just waiting to hear back in the new year. She laughed and said I was wasting my time with more school. She had a job lined up at her dad's company doing HR or something like that. I can't remember what she said exactly. She started laughing about how I'm probably broke and will have a mountain of debt, while she has a nice job lined up. At this point I got up, went to the front and paid my portion of the sushi and left. I didn't say I'm leaving. I didn't say anything to her. I just got up, paid and left. About 5 minutes later she texts me asking where I am. I text her saying I left. She starts blowing up my phone saying I'm rude, and I left her there and she doesn't have money to pay for the sushi. I said not my problem. I thought I'm the broke one? She is calling me, texting me. I just block her number and go home. AITAH for leaving her without a means to pay.